Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a full face of Vieve by Jamie Genevieve. I am a big fan of Jamie and her channel and her more glam makeup style, even though I personally am not super glam, but I think the products look stunning. They all kind of interest me in different ways. So I have literally a full face here. I made a big order from the website and I'm excited to get into it. I'm gonna clip my hair back, but if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you liked and subscribed if you aren't already. With that being said, let's just hop into it. So I'm just gonna run through everything that I purchased. The first thing I got is the Vieve Glowbe Trotter's Mini Glow Hero. So this is the travel size set. They do make a full-size version of this, but since I wasn't sure if I would like them, I have a lot of products in my collection, I just wanted to pick up the mini size. And in here it comes with a Skin Nova, which is an instant radiance primer. It comes with Skin Dew, a glow multitasker, and then it comes with a mini lip dew, which is the glossy lip oil that they have. So there's this. The packaging is really cute. It comes with like this neutrals gold black packaging, which is very much Jamie Genevieve's aesthetic, so I love that. The next thing I purchased was the Vieve Modern Radiance Cream Bronzer. This is their newest launch. I got mine in the shade medium. I am a little concerned that it's going to be too orange on me, but we will see. And this pot is massive. Look at how much product is in there. That is a ton. Also, I love this packaging. Like, it kind of just reminds me of a Reese's peanut butter cup, and I love that. And I don't know, it makes me happy. I also picked up the concealer. This is the Modern Radiance Concealer. I have mine in the shade medium 4. I haven't swatched this yet, so let's do a little swatch. When I blend it out, it looks like a pretty good match. I also picked up the Modern Powder Perfector. Again, I love this packaging. It is like this gold packaging, but it has these ridges, so it just feels a little bit more fancy. It is not magnetic. It has like a little clasp closure, but the clasp is also pretty satisfying just to hear. But nice big mirror. I got the blush. This is the Sunset Blush in the shade Cherub. I know they have liquid blushes too, but I typically don't really reach for liquid blushes that much, so I picked up this one, the powder one, instead. I believe this is from like their original launch, so this one is like kind of an older product, but it still looks stunning. I love that color. It is very much just like a rosy pink for me, maybe a little bit more cool toned. And again, the packaging is really cute. It has this little Vieve label here. It's like a faux leather type of material. Comes with a mirror, and it has a magnetic closure, which is very nice. And the last thing I got here is the Satin Slip Lipstick in the shade Kink. Again, the packaging is super pretty. It's this gold. It has like these ridges. The imprint on there is nice and crisp, and then it has a magnetic closure, which is so satisfying. Okay, so those are all of the products. Let's just start putting them on my face. I'm so excited. The first thing I'm going to go in with is the Vieve Lip Dew, just because my lips are pretty dry and I could use a little bit of hydration right now. This is the mini, like I said, so it's just this little itty bitty travel size. If I like this, then I would consider purchasing the full size because I do love a lip oil, and this has shimmer in it, which I have been really liking lately. I never thought I would be a person that likes shimmer in their glosses, but something about it I've been really liking. I am gonna put this on. It feels very, very smooth. Like, it glides on nicely. Has a slight fragrance to it, nothing super overpowering. Like, I don't smell it unless I put it like right up to my nose. The doe foot is also nice and flexible. I don't know if this is the same doe foot as the like full-size product. I think the full-size product has a little bit more of like a fat doe foot, same as like the Dior Glow lip oils. It feels nice so far. I'm liking the shine it has. and I really like the glitters in it too. I am gonna go in with Skin Nova, which is their Instant Radiance Primer. Take off this little guy. I don't know how much to use, so we're gonna start off with maybe that much. So it looks yellow, but I feel like when you blend it out, it'll pretty much be translucent. It feels nice. It has a little bit of a scent to it. I can't tell what the scent is. It doesn't smell bad. A little spa-like, a little bit like, I don't know. I don't know what that scent is. It smells good though. I like it. It's not super sweet. That is on. My skin looks a little bit more radiant, but nothing overly radiant, which I honestly really appreciate. My skin has been really oily lately, and I don't really love something that is like super glowy. It feels nice, like a little bit tacky, but nothing as tacky as like the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Yeah, I think I like that so far. We'll see how the concealer sits on top of it. So for base, I'm gonna mix these two together, the Skin Dew and the concealer. I've seen Jamie Genevieve do it like this. So she takes a little bit of the concealer and she mixes in a little bit of Skin Dew and then uses that as a foundation. So I'm gonna try to do something similar. The only thing is I don't know exactly how much to use. The concealer also feels a little bit thicker than some other concealers in my collection, but I think mixing in this Skin Dew is gonna help even that out a little bit. Okay, so that's about how much I'm gonna put on right now. That is the concealer underneath and then Skin Dew on top. It looks like this really pretty like golden sheen. I'm just gonna give it a little mix with my hand and then start going in with it. And lately I haven't been liking like a super perfected base. I feel like lately I've definitely just kind of been doing like a sheer wash like this. When I was trying to finish up my NYX concealer for my Project Pan, I really liked putting that and a glowy primer as my base instead of going in with like an actual foundation or a skin tint. So I like this method, but I still feel like the concealer is a little bit too thick for this method. Maybe if I used a different kind of glowy primer that was a little bit thinner, I would get a better consistency. But I mean, even that, I still feel like that's a pretty good coverage, and I really didn't go in with a lot of product. There's still a ton of product on here. So let's try and see if I can maybe build it up a little bit. I don't know if I would be able to use this in the winter when I am more pale, but it works for now. Foundation is on. I think I like it so far. It's a good like light coverage, light to medium. You can still see my blemishes running through, but again, I didn't put on a lot of it and I did mix in that primer or highlighter. I am gonna put a little bit more on the typical concealer points. So one dot there, one dot there. I have a massive zit right there, and I have this one right here. And I think that's all. I feel like my skin overall is looking pretty good. I think that is more than enough. Let's go in with this Rare Beauty concealer brush. I'm just gonna start tapping this out. I mean, even just that little bit of concealer, I still feel like it covered quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's drying, but I do feel like my under eye bags are a little bit emphasized right now, but maybe going in with the powder will help minimize that, and also maybe this applies better with a sponge rather than a brush, just because it is a little bit thicker. Looking at my skin really closely, the concealer it's not settling, but I feel like it is kind of emphasizing the lines underneath my eyes. They're not like super apparent, but I still feel like they're a little bit more emphasized. It doesn't look bad on my acne. It's not like hanging on to any dry patches that I can tell. It's not the like highest coverage concealer out there, but I do like the way that's looking. Let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see better. So this is what my skin is looking like. I feel like it is nice. Like I feel like it's just a little bit more evened out, nothing super crazy. I feel like just underneath my eyes the lines are a little bit more prominent, but overall I think it looks nice, and it doesn't feel super glowy. Like I know it is glowy, but it doesn't feel overly glowy like it's gonna slip and slide all over my face. Now we're gonna go in with the cream bronzer. This is again in the shade medium. I have swatched this, and when I swatched it, it didn't seem too bad, but in the pan it definitely looks more orange. So there is the bronzer. I'm gonna go in with this brush. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer brush. I'm just gonna take a little bit. It is pretty pigmented right off the bat, but not too pigmented where I feel like I am gonna like go overboard. Like sometimes with the Cosmetics So Soft Stick and Terra, I definitely feel like I'm going a little bit overboard, but this seems pretty good. I think this would probably apply really nicely with the sponge too, because it is more emollient. It's a little bit more slippy of a feeling formula, but I don't have a wet sponge right now, so it actually shears out pretty nicely. I feel like it doesn't look too intense, but I do think that you could build it if you wanted to. So let's just try that. Like let's see if we can get it a little bit more intense, and I feel like it'll be toned down with the powder anyway. I mean, definitely buildable. That's a little bit too much. Let's run a little bit down the nose. This also has a slight scent to it. It kind of smells like florally. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of floral scents, to be honest, but you don't really smell it when it's like when you're putting it on your face, but if you hold it close, there is definitely a scent. Just taking my foundation brush and kind of patting over that a little bit, because I did go a little bit overboard with that. I like that. I definitely feel very bronzy. I feel like this bronzer would be really good for kind of that like latte makeup trend, just something like really warm. I think I like that. I'm not going to put any on my forehead. I don't love bronzer on my forehead, especially because my forehead is just naturally more tan than the rest of my body. So I'm not going to do that. I am, however, going to go in with powder. This is the Vieve Modern Powder Perfector. Again, I don't know if I said this, but I have mine in the shade medium. I'm going to first use this small brush. This is a Spectrum & Katie Jane Hughes number 8 brush, and I'm going to put this underneath my eyes just to see how it looks. Well, I'll do a brush with one side, and then I'm going to do a powder puff with the other side. So just a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. Definitely kind of smoothed out some of those lines that I felt like were being emphasized with the concealer. So you see this eye just looks a little bit smoother compared to this eye. There's one little crease there that I feel like is being really emphasized. And then I'm gonna go in with a powder puff. This one is from e.l.f. It's a little bit dirty, so please don't judge me. Just gonna take a little bit and then tap. I don't think it did as well of a job on this side. I feel like this side looks a little bit more dry now, so I don't think the powder puff is the way to go. I'm just gonna take this brush and go back underneath it. Let's put this powder on the rest of my face. I am gonna go in with a pretty big brush. This is from e.l.f. This is the pointed powder brush. Just gonna tap in there. A little bit of kick up when you tap your brush in. Nothing like crazy, but I mean there definitely is kick up. The true test for me is in between my eyebrows. That's kind of my problem area when it comes to powders and just base products in general. a lot of the times I feel like it'll emphasize the texture I have in between there. I am going in with a little bit more powder than, I mean, maybe is necessary, but I do think that looks nice. I don't think it's like ultra blurring or ultra like mattifying, but I think it leaves a really pretty finish still. You can still see the glow coming through from underneath. It does have like a little bit of pigment to it, so I feel like the bronzer got toned down a lot too. For me, so far so good, but we'll have to see how well it lasts. Maybe I can use it as a touch-up powder, so I definitely need to try this out just a little bit more. For now though, I think that looks pretty nice. The next item I'm going to go in with is blush. That is my favorite step of my makeup routine. I am going to go in with the Vieve Sunset Blush in the shade Cherub. I'm going to take this on a Spectrum and Katie Jane Hughes number 2 brush and just give it a little dip in there. This one not as powdery, like not a lot of kick up to it. I think that's this really pretty pink. It's definitely a builder type of powder. Like I feel like it's not picking up a ton of product, which is probably nice for the majority of the population, but I am definitely a blush lover. I love a kind of heavy blush moment, and this is taking a little bit more time to build up, but honestly for the average consumer I think that'd be really pretty and like exactly what you would want. I think this shade is really pretty too. I really like the way this is looking. It's not a glowy blush at all, but it's also not like mattifying either. Like I think it just has a really pretty kind of satiny finish. Just need to build up a little bit more for my preferences. That's pretty. I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's a really nice like everyday type of blush. I think it'd be a pretty blush topper as well. If you're already putting on a cream that's like pretty pigmented, that'll be nice to set everything without adding like a ton of pigment either. The last item I have here is the Satin Slip lipstick. Again, I am obsessed with this packaging. It feels so nice. And let's go in with this. Again, this is in the shade Kink. I like this color. I think that's gonna look really pretty on me. I think this is like my, just like a tad bit darker than my actual lip color. So let's just go in with it. Feels really comfy, very thin. It is definitely like a more pigmented lip product. When they said satin slip, I don't know why, but I kind of imagined something like the Merit Sheer Slick. That's not that, but I do really like this color. I think this is pretty much like my everyday. If I were to wear lipstick every day, I do really like that. I like the shine it has. It's not matte at all, but it's not super glowy either. It feels very comfortable on the lips. It feels like there's nothing there. You can kind of see the lip lines on my lips a little bit more, but that's just because my lips are super dry right now. I think the Glow lip oil isn't the most hydrating for me, but again, my lips are perpetually dry. I really need something super hydrating for my lips to feel very moisturized. I also didn't have this on for that long, but I think the glossiness of it is kind of where this is at. It's super comfortable. Thinner than the Dior lip glow oils, but like definitely thicker than the Merit tinted lip oils. I like it. I don't think it's like my absolute favorite formula, but I do really like the shimmer in here. I think the shimmer is stunning. That's pretty much all of the makeup that I purchased. I know Vieve has an eyeshadow palette. Well, they have two different eyeshadow palettes, but none of the color stories really called out to me, and so I didn't feel like I needed them in my collection. I know they have an eyeliner, which they just came out with a brown shade for, and I know they have false lashes, but they don't have a mascara. So I am gonna hop off camera, do my brows, and put on mascara, and I will be right back for the final look. Okay, brows are done. Mascara is on. I put a little bit of the Urban Decay Moon Dust eyeshadow in the shade Cosmic on my lids. I put on a little bit of the Urban Decay Glide On 24/7 Glide On pencil in the shade Cuff in my lower waterline. I feel like it just makes it a little bit more fun. I don't know. Tightlined my upper lash line with the Rare Beauty eyeliner, and this is pretty much the final look. But I realized that I didn't actually use Skin Dew as like a highlighter, so we're gonna do that. I am just gonna take like a tiny bit, maybe like that much, on the back of my hand and kind of put this on some pinpointed areas. So I'm just gonna use my finger, a little bit on my nose, right here on the bridge. Use my finger to kind of blend that out a little bit on my cheeks. I do have powder on, so I'm a little bit concerned that it's gonna like pick up the powder and the foundation and kind of make it messy. But I did want to use this as a highlighter too, so just a little bit more there, a little bit on the top of my lips. I think that's good. I think it did not necessarily like pick up the blush, but I feel like the blush just isn't as noticeable underneath it, and I feel like it just like kind of covered it over like with pigment. So I am just going to put on a little bit more blush with the same brush from before, just the Spectrum and Cajun Hues #2 brush. Just a little bit. There we go. This is a full face of, or almost a full face of Vieve. I think that's really pretty. I really like all of the products I've tried today, but none of them are like absolute standouts to me. Again, this is just the first impressions though, so I'm sure that I will have different opinions when I use them a little bit more. I think the highlighter definitely needs to go on underneath powder, and I like the idea of using it as a mixer. The primer, we'll have to see how well my makeup lasts, but in terms of just kind of giving it like a little bit of a glow, I do like that. It's not super intense, which is my biggest like appreciation for it. I really liked the powder. I feel like it kind of smoothed out my under eyes a little bit from being super over exaggerated like I feel like it did with the concealer. The blush is stunning, definitely a little bit more sheer, so you do need to kind of work to build up that pigment, but for the most part, like, I'm sure most people like that sort of formula. I am just a heavy blush gal, so I feel like it did take a little bit longer for me to build up the blush to the pigment that I would like. The concealer was okay. I didn't love the concealer. Like, I feel like it emphasized the lines underneath my eyes just a little bit. It did cover up my acne like redness pretty well. I think it's a little bit too thick of a concealer to kind of do that method where you put in a little bit of the glowy primer, or maybe if I had a thinner glowy primer that would work a little bit better. But for my preferences, I think I'm just gonna stick with that being like a pinpointed concealer, maybe just underneath the eyes or like on blemishes. I think Lip Dew is pretty, but it's not my absolute favorite formula. I think there are much more hydrating lip oils out there. It was really comfortable though, so not a ton of complaints, and I did like the like sparkliness it had. The Satin Slip lipstick I think is my favorite product, just because I really like this color. I think the finish is really pretty. I think this is pretty much my like everyday lip color if I were to wear lipsticks every day though. I really like the way this looks on my lips. I think it's just a really pretty color on me and my skin tone specifically. The bronzer, I like the packaging the most though. Again, like, it just kind of makes me happy. I don't know why. I don't know what about this lid makes me so happy, but it does. It is nice and buildable. It is emollient enough to give you a lot of time to work with it, but again, it is buildable, which is really nice. The shade in the pot definitely looks a little orange, but on my skin it ended up being not too bad. I think it worked really well. Let me know what you guys think, or if you've tried Vieve. What's your favorite product from Vieve? I think overall I like all the products, but again, there's just nothing that like super stands out to me. I am sure that they have many more exciting launches coming. I know they have a powder bronzer as well that's kind of like two different tones, kind of similar to the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick I have, where it has like the one cooler and warmer shade. I didn't pick that up because, again, I do have a lot of powder bronzers. I didn't think I needed another one, but I'm sure that one is stunning too. I know they have a powder highlighter, but I'm not a huge powder highlighter person, so I didn't want to pick that up. Overall, I'm excited to see what else Vieve comes out with. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.